Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk, where we are empowering small business entrepreneurs with resources and tools to take their business to the next level. I'm your host, Dr. Gwen, and here in the studio with me is a powerful female entrepreneur that is making an impact around the world. And she desires to share proven success strategies with you that has changed the trajectory of not only her own life, but of many through her God-inspired product innovation. And so, if you are a company that is looking to make smart decisions to secure growth and profitability, this podcast is for you. And if you are an individual that needs a boost of confidence to get you out of the rat race of not enough and to more than enough, I encourage you to plug in and get connected, because this anointed lady here have a success story like no other. And if God can change her life, He can do the same for you. Well, Miss Butter, thank you again for coming into the studio to share with my audience your life-changing story. But first, tell us, how did you get to this place?
Well, first I would like to thank you for having me here for your podcast. What got me here was the pain. I was not able to take a lot of NSAIDs and a lot of medications. And I also didn't want to have to take medication like narcotics that would cause addiction. And I was having pains in my hands. I had carpal tunnel and trigger finger. I also had a torn rotator cuff to the point where the doctor said it would not be able to repair it. They would have to replace it completely. And so I began to study and began to look at different herbs and just started reading, and really I can't take any credit on my own. It was the Spirit of God that caused my eyes to see and to hear particular herbs that would help me. And so I began to use those herbs, and I made an oil for myself. And out of all of that, the pain began to dissipate. It began to leave. I really never had any intentions of selling this product. Yes. I was just making this product for me because it was born out of my own pain.
Yes.
And as time went on, the Spirit of God impressed upon me to sell it.
Yes.
And that's how we got to this point. And so at first I wasn't selling it. I was actually giving it away. And people began to talk about how instantly they didn't feel pain. They were placing it on. I had one young lady, she had a migraine, and we were just sitting down having lunch. And she put some on her forehead, and literally in a matter of moments, the headache left.
My goodness, my goodness. Now you talk about that God gave you this anointed formula. When did He give you this formula?
Actually, He deals with me in the wee hours of the morning. It had to be like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when most people are asleep. And I was just studying, just looking at, on the website, just looking at different herbs and plants and looking at the benefits. And then, and then I looked at another one, and then He had me begin to put these herbs together.
Yes.
Because when you look at pain, one of the basic reasons for pain is inflammatory, inflamed. Okay. When you think of something on fire, that's pain.
Yes.
Inflammation, mucus, those are the symptoms that causes pain. Swelling, those are, the things that cause the pain, the swell.
Okay. Yes.
And so as I began to look at those things and then looking at the different benefits and the qualities, I began to infuse the products together because they all had a common denominator.
Yes.
And when I saw the common denominator, that gave me the decision to make that these would work together well.
Okay, yes. You know, you have such a phenomenal story that you shared with me of where you got to the place of needing this formula that God blessed you with. Tell us a little bit more about your backstory.
Well, I had been heavy from the age of 3 years old up until my mid-age, and I got up to 556 pounds. And in the power wheelchair for 7 years, 95% of the time. After losing the weight, I thought, well, you know, my problems will be over.
Yes.
That was far from the truth. I had residual effects of the weight. My joints, my knees, I had knee replacement, and I thought that the pain would leave because of knee replacement. But yet I still had the pain. So my knees would hurt, my hands would hurt. And so that pushed me, and let's not even forget about how I was having muscle spasms behind the wheel of my cart, as we would call it, Charlie horses.
Yes.
And I would be driving on the expressway, and literally I would have to beg God to please get me off the expressway so that I could walk the pain out. And, you know, I didn't have enough magnesium, which was causing the Charlie horses. And so I developed this formula for myself to stop the Charlie horses, because every time I got behind the wheel of the car and drove for quite a bit, the Charlie horses would start. And it was just unbearable pain. And after using my sprayed magnesium, I stopped having them.
Glory to God. God is a miracle worker, and He does give us specific instructions to alleviate pain. Although He has the healing power through His blood, we know that. But there's a part that we have to do in the body.
Yes.
In your story, when I heard of it, I had to bring you in the studio to share with others. Now, these are some of the products here that you have created yourself. You've manufactured yourself. Tell us a little bit more about some of the products that you have here.
Well, I made it convenient, because a lot of times when you're out and you have pain, you want something convenient, something not as bulky. So I started with the droppers,
Okay.
which is the one that's nearest to you.
Okay.
And what ended up happening, you know, if you're on the road, you're traveling, you don't really have the wherewithal to squeeze it and then pour it, and then you're risking it falling and dropping.
Exactly.
So I developed the roll-on.
Okay.
And the roll-on can be refilled by the dropper. And it also, I wanted it to be, you know, where it was beautiful, where someone wouldn't be ashamed of pulling it out.
Yes.
And, you know, to look at it, you would think it was a lip gloss or maybe some perfume. But actually, you can put it on, and it's an oil right there, and you can just rub it in, and it will relieve the pain.
And you're right. It is very, you know, uniquely developed, whereas that anyone can just put it in their purse, right?
Yes.
Or even if you are a male, you can just put it right there in your shirt pocket.
Yes.
You know, or what have you. And I love the title here that you have Heaven's Relief.
Yes.
Heaven's Relief. That is such a beautiful title. Now, you also have here, it looks like a cream.
It's a salve.
Okay.
It's a maximum strength.
Okay. Am I able to open it?
Yes, you can
Okay,
open it.
now these were sealed, so I noticed that.
This one is not yet.
Okay,
As
I'm
of
gonna
yet.
put this over to the side here. Okay, here we go. Here we go, right here. Okay. And I love the design of each one of these. And I'm seeing that you have a spray as well, which we're gonna get to. You know. Oh, and the scent. The scent is very nice, whereas that is not overpowering. You can put this on during the day and be okay. Now tell me about this particular one here, where, okay, yes.
Well, because you have people that have more intense pain.
Yes.
Like I have clients that have fibromyalgia.
Okay.
They were using the other product that you just showed, which is of the same product, but they needed more.
Yes.
I had clients that had MS.
Okay.
You know, some that had crooked spines. and they needed a little more
Okay.
because of the intensity of the pain and people that had
Yes.
chronic arthritis.
Oh.
So I developed a maximum strength
Okay.
where I processed it at doubling the formula, which caused the pain for some, not
Yes.
all, because I'm not a doctor.
Yes.
I don't have the wherewithal to give anyone any medical advice. And I can't make any promises that it will, because everyone is different. Nor can I promise how long it will work.
Yes.
But what I have experienced personally, I have not had to use it as much
Yes.
because it has healing properties. And one of the ingredients nickname is knit bones. It has the possible capability of knitting your bones back together again.
Oh, my goodness. And I'm so glad that you did share the disclosure that you are not a medical doctor. These ingredients were given to you solely from heaven.
Yes.
However, it's for faith. It is our faith that makes us whole, but also too, if you have experienced it personally and you're sharing it, then others may benefit from what God has given you. And what I particularly like about this product is that it's not oily. I just dab my hand a little bit just to see, and it's not oily, and again, it smells really good. And I love that whatever illness that one is going through, because we all go through something,
Yes.
then, it can benefit you as well, whatever you're going through. A headache, as much as a Charlie horse, or even, like you said, a fibromyalgia, or what have you. I'm not sure if you're familiar with naturopathy medicine,
Yes.
where it's like a holistic type of medicine.
Yes.
And that's what basically this is as well, is holistic medicine. Tell me more about this one here. This is a spray, and it has pain on it.
Yes, that was the one for the Charlie horses. And what you do is you spray it on the bottom of your feet because all of your organs are in the bottom of your feet.
Yes.
And, even though we may take magnesium pill form, and I'm not saying this for people to purchase my product necessarily, but when you take pill form, you only are able to hold a certain amount of a percentage that will process through your body, where with a spray, it will go through your body immediately.
Yes.
And one of the things that I personally have experienced, once I started using it on my feet, I began not to have Charlie horses at all. But if I was having one, all I had to do was spray it on that area, rub it, and the Charlie horse would immediately come out.
Oh my goodness, my goodness! And that is so true. That on the bottom of our feet, it says certain areas on the bottom of your feet is associated with different organs.
Yes.
And I have used some type of medically, ingredients, I'm not going to say specifically what, on the bottom of my feet to alleviate some pains in my body. And so that I have experienced, personally. And you're saying that this right here is going to do the same thing, relieve some pain, because there's pain in bowl, to certain individuals that may be experiencing difficulties in certain areas of their body, whether it is, a heartburn, as minor as heartburn, to filtering out your liver, and processing foods. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, not quite.
Okay.
But it will with spasms.
Okay.
Because most of us are deficient in minerals.
Okay.
And we must understand that because the ground is so depleted, the minerals that we used to get through our food in yesteryear, we don't have that anymore.
Yes.
And so now it's important that we reach out to herbs to help us, because we must remember we came from the ground.
Yes.
Just like, for example, most of us have D deficiencies. Why? Because we don't have the sunlight, and the sunlight plays a great role in that. And so a lot of the deficiencies that we have with minerals cause a lot of the pains and the discomfort that we have.
My goodness, it's so very true. Especially those that live in the northern states. You know, we don't get enough sun, so there's a deficiency of a tremendous high level of deficiency of vitamin D. Now, I'm looking at this here I picked up. I love this wrapping. You know, I'm into pretty things. Tell me a little bit more about this right here.
Well, that was developed, it is actually the herbs
Okay.
that are in my product.
Okay.
And what it's to do
Because that's
is,
what I'm seeing. Am I seeing leaves here? So these are actually herbs in here. Okay.
yeah, in little sachets.
Okay.
And I'm a
okay.
bath person.
Yes.
And so what you do is you draw your bath water with straight hot water.
My goodness.
And you drop in 2 sachets that are filled with the herbs, and you let it steep for 5 minutes. Then you can put any type of bubble bath or salts that you want, because I chose not to put any fragrance in it,
Yes.
so that you may have the choice of what fragrance you would like in your bath water.
Yes, yes.
And then you temper it to your liking of your temperature with cold water once it's steeped for 5 minutes. And you soak for about 20 minutes. And what I found with myself, it relieves the stress, the tension, and the pain in my body, and it caused me to sleep well at night.
This is definitely a product that one can utilize, especially for those that, you know, have difficulty in sleeping, you know. So I would definitely recommend that one. You know, you have some great products here, Miss Butter. I am just so elated that God gave you the vision to manufacture and the ingredients to manufacture these life-changing products to those that need it. You know, you mentioned that you have some of the ingredients are herbal. What is considered an herbal product?
Anything that comes from the ground. Vegans, they say it doesn't have a mother or a father. It doesn't have eyes. That is considered herbal from the ground. It has roots. And we all know their roots, where the roots is, that's where the nutrients come.
And you know, I think about growing up on a farm, you know, where my parents grew everything.
Yes.
And you mentioned that anything that is herbal comes from the ground. And you know, I was going to ask a question. Do herbal products work? But if God created from the very beginning everything from the ground, he says, herb-bearing seed I give for you.
Yes.
Then we know that herbal works for everyone.
Yes, we do. We just cannot say how it would work for everyone, because everyone's body is different. You know, like even with regular medications, you know, you might have to take a higher dose. I might have to take a lower dose. You may be able to take it for one day. I might be able only to take it, you know, for half a day.
Yes.
So everyone is different. It's not one size fit all, if I may say it that way.
Okay. So, yeah, and I think I understand that, you know, herbal may not be for everyone, or we just have to kind of evaluate to see what herbal products, because there's so many herbal products that are out there.
And so that's why one has to be careful, and one has to make sure that that is for them. And I, again, would say I don't have the medical background to advise anyone that this product will be helpful to them or harmful to them.
Yes.
I would suggest, if anyone has any questions whether they should or should not, they should contact their doctor, make an appointment.
Absolutely.
And ask their doctor,
Absolutely.
Is this okay? Would this
Yes.
be safe for me? Would it interact with any drug that I am taking right now?
Yes.
I think that would be the proper thing to do, being that I am not a doctor.
And I'm so glad that you raised that, disclosure, that before we take anything, and I think that even the medical doctors, when we go to an exam, they always ask, what medications are you on? Are you allergic to this or that or anything before you are taking into your bodies anything? And so, no, we are not medical doctors. We are not saying that all herbal products are good for you, right?
Right.
It's all about your specific situation.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about, you have manufactured your products, through the grace of God and through the vision of God that has blessed you to be able to manufacture and innovate. And you took these products on the road after you experimented them on yourself, and God says, okay, take it on the road and share it with my people. Tell me a little bit about your experience on marketplace vending.
It's wonderful. I love people.
Yes.
And the other thing is, I don't like to see anyone in pain.
Yeah.
And so to just be able to reach out to people and see them in their pain, and then to watch them walk away with no pain. And, I talk about how when it hits them, it's like they're deer in headlights. They're like,
oh, wow.
I can't believe this pain is
So
gone.
they get immediate results. When using your products here, there's immediate results.
Yes.
My goodness. The ingredients is just that powerful.
Immediately. And it's still unbelievable to me,
My
even
goodness.
though I know the product works, but it never gets old. It's always new. Each person that comes before me and they try it, and that aha moment is like, oh my goodness, this stuff really works. And I'm right with them. Yes, it really works.
My goodness.
And I'm excited too, just like they're excited.
That is something to rejoice over. My goodness. Okay, so now tell me, because I know you just left a vending show. Was it in Chicago?
No, this show was
Okay.
in Atlanta,
Atlanta.
Georgia.
Okay.
It was the Black Heritage Ball,
Okay.
where 2,500 people from all over the United States came. I don't know if you've ever heard of stepping,
Yes.
but it's a very popular thing that's done, especially in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had people coming from all over to step
My goodness.
and to enjoy themselves.
Yes.
And so in that, I saw people limping, people that hopping. And one man I actually met on the elevator, he had just had back surgery, and he wanted to dance, but because his back was giving him such problems, he didn't think he was going to be able to. And so he allowed me to apply some of the oil on his back.
Okay.
And shortly thereafter, in maybe 2 minutes, he was able to move.
My goodness.
And he went on the ballroom floor and he started stepping.
My goodness. Wow, God is a miracle worker.
Yes, he
And
is.
I'm sure that he bought your product
Yes, he did.
and was a marketing tool, basically, to share his testimony and say, hey, that young lady over there, she has a miracle working ingredient in this bottle here that will change your life. We're talking health wellness, right? Health and wellness is what we're talking here.
Yes.
Health and wellness. Helping those to live a more vibrant life.
Yes.
Tell us more, because I know you have so many more testimonies.
Yes, I had one young lady, I was in another vendor event, and she was a vendor just like I, and her back was bothering her because when she had her baby, they gave her epidural that went bad.
Wow.
So she was in constant pain. So I just beckoned her to come over, and I started talking with her. And so we applied some in the area where the epidural was given.
Okay.
And she said, oh, it feels warm. Then she went back over to her table, and then all of a sudden she looked at me. She said, I'm not in pain. She's like, I can go dancing. And that was really, really a great great thing. Then
Yeah.
another young lady, I was having lunch with her, and she was having a migraine. And she decided to just take some oil and put it where the migraine was at.
My goodness.
Migraine lifted.
My goodness.
You know, I even had a man, he was at a stepper event, and he couldn't hardly walk. His wife was walking with him. Literally, she was holding him up, and he was just walking so slow. And I said, come on over here in my office.
My goodness.
And so he came over, and he didn't want to take his shoes off, because like, do you know what it's going to take me to put my shoes back on? And so his wife was like, I will bring the shoehorn back. So I put the ointment on his foot, and he was just sitting there, and he waited for his wife to come back, put his shoes on him. When he stood up, he said, oh my God, this is a blessing come from God. He like, oh my God, thank you, thank you.
Yes.
And literally, he started dancing right on the spot.
Wow.
And this was New Year's Eve.
My
Now,
goodness.
you know New Year's Eve, you do not want to be in pain.
That is so true.
And
My
he was
God.
able to dance the night away.
And they had no idea that that day was going to change the rest of their lives.
Yes.
My God. My God. And you know, what is such an actual revelation is that they said, thank you, Lord.
Exactly. Because this did not come from me. And
Yes.
that's one of the things that I constantly tell people.
Yes.
The reason why it works is because it comes from God.
Amen to that.
Now, if I did it,
Yes.
it wouldn't work.
Yes. And you know, I'm so glad that you shared that. It was because of your obedience that God gave you the formula to put this together, because when he gives us a blessing, it is not for us, and although we benefit from it, it is to bless others. And so through your obedience, you manufactured, put the ingredients together that God gave you, and then share it with others. But don't forget, I'm the one that gave you that. So all glory goes to him.
Yes.
And to remind people that as they do take this medication or these supplements, I'll say not medication, as they take these supplements and rub it on their bodies, that they know that the healing power that is in it is God's.
He said, I wish above that ye prosper.
Yes.
And be in health even as your soul prospers.
Yes.
God, he cares about the whole total man.
Amen
He
to
cares
that.
about the body, the soul. And when your body hurt, your soul hurts.
Yes. It affects every part of the body, right?
Yes, it does.
You can't focus. It affects your mental health.
Yes. And it also affects your attitude. When you're in pain, you might lash out on someone.
There you go.
Not meaning to,
Yes.
but because
yes.
you're in pain, your temperament is a little short.
Exactly. And so when you're healthy, you feel good, and then you can also convey to others and be a benefit to others
Yes.
through spreading the joy that the world didn't give, but God gave.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing. Now, I also want you to share that through these marketplace vending shows, this has blessed you financially.
Yes, it has.
Because when God blesses, like you had mentioned, he blesses us totally. Not just our mind, our body, but our finances as well.
Yes.
How has this changed your life financially?
Well, it is definitely it's mind blowing, to be honest.
Yes, I can imagine.
As you can
I
see,
can
that I'm
imagine.
searching for words
Uh-huh.
because where the scripture said, "Eyes have not seen, ears
Woo,
not heard, neither has it
yes.
entered into the heart of man what God has."
Mhm.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
No one could have ever told me this.
Yes.
If they would have told me, I would have laughed.
Yeah.
But it has blessed me. And I think, not that I'm not in it to make money, because of course I want to make money. The Bible said money answereth all things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the money is nice,
Mm-hmm.
but the big reward is to watch the people,
Yeah.
to watch them walk away with pain-free.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I think that's a more rewarding thing, more so than the money.
Yeah. And when he blesses us, he do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ever imagine or think. And so, you are blessed now, health-wise. You're smiling. The joy of the Lord is on you. And like you said, you're able to see others that are living a more fruitful, fulfilled life.
Yes.
And you are also living a more fruitful, enjoyable life. And you have a business now that is going across the world because you travels across the world doing this business. You are a traveling vendor.
Yes.
You go around the world just about, selling your products as a marketplace vendor.
Yes.
And you have benefited tremendously from it. What suggestions do you give for someone that is thinking about and may not have considered becoming a marketplace vendor, going, traveling around the world with their product? What suggestions would you give them on how they can get into becoming a marketplace vendor?
I would suggest that you first start locally
Mm-hmm.
to begin to get, as they would say, get your feet a little wet.
Yeah.
Wherever well, for me, I started with the steppers.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you get a plugger or a flyer that says they're looking for vendors, you start off with that.
Yes.
And when you have a good product, your name will start going out.
Yes.
And then
yes.
people will begin to seek you out. Oh, I heard about you. Oh, I
Yes.
want your product. And then they'll begin to promote you.
Uh-huh.
And so even just starting in your circle, your local church, bowling alleys, committees, it's various. It's not just cut and dry, go this way or go that way.
Yes.
Your surroundings. Start with your surroundings, then venture out.
Mm-hmm.
Once you become comfortable in your local area.
Yes. Yes.
And you'll know when to go to something else and go
Yes.
to something else and go. Because what I found in my personal vending is when one door closes, another opens.
Ooh, absolutely.
And the doors begin to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes. That is, some awesome, information that you just shared. What about a person or an individual that desires, because I think for the most part, the majority of people, they have they have a desire to be an entrepreneur, but they just don't know how. What advice would you give them, being a successful entrepreneur yourself, where your business is thriving? What suggestions do you give someone that just need a word of encouragement or even just some direction and how they can become an entrepreneur, or if they have a product and they are stuck with getting it to manufacturing point?
Well, the suggestion I would make is for them to go to their local chamber of commerce. There are so many different aspects that the Chamber of Commerce can meet. They can help you with your business plan. They can help you with the financial part of it. Insurance. A lot of times we don't realize that you need insurance for your product.
Yes.
Also, networking with other entrepreneurs. The Bible said iron sharpens
That's
iron.
right.
And you have to be around like-minded people.
Yes.
And a lot of times when you find an entrepreneur incubator hub, it pushes you and it encourages you to even do better. And that environment, just like you have rich soil causes the plants to grow.
Yeah.
Well, rich entrepreneur soils causes the creativities and the entrepreneurs and the inventing to come forth.
Yeah. Excellent advice. I thank you again, Ms. Butter, for coming in and sharing your expertise. God is doing some tremendous things in your life, and He will continue to bless you abundantly as you continue to be obedient and share your expertise with others. God bless you and your success.
Thank you so much.
We will be putting in the comments or in the description there in YouTube, as well as I have an area on my website for all of my for all of my partners that come, as well as all of my guests that come into the studio. In my website, you will see a link there with Miss Butter's contact information, as well as a link to her website, if she has a website, or just her contact information there as well to get in contact with Miss Butter. She has a wealth of information as well as life-changing products that I encourage you to connect yourself with her. As she has mentioned, iron sharpens irons. Be with people of like-minded. And so if you desire to be an entrepreneur, you are on the right channel, as well as be a part of our group. We would love to have you. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you again, Ms. Butter. Any last minute words?
Just do it.
Just do it. I love it. I love that slogan. Not that we're trying to take it from Nike or anything like that. So I don't want you guys to think we're trying to take it from Nike. But that is so true, because I even think that Barack Obama himself, President Barack Obama himself said, just do it. And that's what we have to do. And so again, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, God's best for great success.